memory just popped into my head.
Well, like everybody else, we're talking baseball.
Of course, it was that time of year. Well, springtime. Pitchers and catchers.
Yeah, they're reporting.
I mean, football is done.
That's right. That's right.
One more football note. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, and it took me a while to realize it. But apparently there's one more piece of fallout from the Super Bowl halftime show, and that's Kendrick Lamar's jeans. Apparently they have blown up the internet.
Oh, really?
Oh, very much.
Just saw a coworker down the hall saying she was obsessed with his bootcut jeans.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to a friend yesterday, and she's like, I loved those jeans. I mean, that's not even something I noticed.
Exactly.
But the internet is like, see, I wasn't the only one.
I can't even picture them. Now that you say them, I couldn't even picture them.
I bet you will see. Your son may be asking for a pair, and you'll see people wearing them everywhere.
They're wider at the bottom.
Wider at the bottom.
A bootcut jeans.
Yeah.
You know.
It was popular in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I know the bootcut. I've seen. I mean, I've heard
Never
of it.
wore them, but I know what they are.
It's so weird. I'm never moved by anything. You know, when people say, "Oh, that's the greatest fashion," I'm like, I don't know. I'm never moved by. I don't ever go out to try and get something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I would never think, "Oh, I love that. I've got to have it."
Somebody asked me the other day what drives me, and I said, nothing.
No, right, exactly.
There's nothing.
I don't have that. I would never look at something I don't think and go, except that my rucksack. You know, that's the only right now.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm really into is rucking.
Did I tell you I've seen 2 mother ruckers in our neighborhood now?
I love it.
2.
I think I'm
Their
behind this
moms
movement.
walking through the neighborhood in the daytime with their vests on.
Maybe I'm behind this movement of mother rucking and rucking in general. I don't know.
I don't think you are because you're not doing it.
I've never done it, not once.
So you're lead from behind, perhaps?
Yep, I've read about it. Now we're talking about baseball because Chris Demm and I we're recording a video for our minor league baseball team for their fireworks night on Fridays, which we did once before, but now those videos are long old and out of date. So we are recording those soon. So we're trying to think of little ideas to because
Just brainstorming, bouncing ideas.
And it popped into my head. One time they had us as bat boys out there.
Yeah, it was World Oldest Bat Boys Night or something.
Yeah, and we sat at the dugout of each team, one on one side, one on the other, and went out and retrieved the foul balls and got the bats and so forth. You know?
It's terrifying to be that close.
Yes.
Terrifying.
And it popped into my head because Chris Demm was saying, do we have any gear for the team? And can we change into like the jersey or the hat or whatever? And that night when we changed we wore the uniform. All the players were walking around naked back there. And I was just like, I feel out of place.
Who's this guy?
Yeah.
Why is he here?
And they were, and they're like staring at you naked. Like, what's this guy doing?
You knew?
Yeah. No.
Oh, you're one of those guys been in the minors for a long time. I get it.
You're a lifer? Or just get sent down?
No. And they're just, walking around, just letting it swing. And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know.
And what no one really tells, it's hard to tell because baseball, the field is so enormous. Ball players are enormous.
They're big.
And these were rookies.
Yeah, they're big players.
They're enormous humans.
They're huge players, and you're just standing there. And then I've got to change, and at that time I was wearing my tighty whities.
Could you look away, please?
I said to the guys,
Why are you getting naked? You're a bat boy.
Yeah. Shouldn't you come in uniform, man?
I didn't know they gave it to me. They gave it to me when I got.
No one told me.
No one told me they gave it to me when I got to the stadium. They're like, you shouldn't be naked in here.
This is not a naked place.
Why are you out? What are you doing? God, it was terrible. It was really awful. Very
Stay out of my
embarrassing.
locker, weirdo.
Very, very embarrassing. So we'll be back in there. Let me just warn all the grasshoppers. That's the team.
Yeah, man.
We'll be back in there in your space here in the next few weeks shooting that stuff. You had a comment?
I guess there won't be any videos of me crawling around this time.
I don't want to talk
They
about
Next to those.
they said don't make fun of the big guy.
that was my idea. I was going to have Biggie crawl from first base to second.
You did it last time.
I did it last time.
We did.
And there were so many
It aired
complaints.
once.
Yeah.
It aired once, and they said, this is fat shaming to the nth degree.
Yeah.
And
the
they were,
moms of chunky kids in the stands were.
Yeah.
that's right.
You had him stop between first and second to eat a whole hot dog.
Sales of hot dogs plummeted.
At a ballpark. Who would have thought? It aired once.
Yeah.
I said, this is the
Now
worst.
get down on the ground and crawl.
Who approved this? They were like, whose idea was this? It was mine. I wrote the script for it.
Yeah.
He crawled, but he stopped halfway
Yeah.
between first and second, then crawled into second.
And all
where
the
the ball's waiting for him.
and all the demeaning things you've had me do, that might be the actual lowest.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was
I thought
really
the comedic timing was spot on.
I did too. As God is my witness, in 1988, I know in my bones that would have been very well received. Apparently, in 2019, it was not.
That'd have been a hit sketch on In Living Color.
Yeah. It was like guy trying to steal second, weighs
Or
and
The Sandlot.
Yes, big guy trying to steal second has to stop and take a break halfway through. What is that not funny?
Has a hot dog and a smoke.
Yes. When is that not fun? Then the next day, I can't believe that. Who would do something
My
like
junkie
that?
kid was offended.
That's right. We're not using you this time. We've decided you're out. This time around, we're doing it.
That was the one time I remember driving home thinking, I am not paid enough.
Yeah. God.
And we didn't even get to keep the gear.
Unbelievable.
No, they had to give it back.
Hey, there's a guy that was naked down there 2 years ago. Yep, they know. It was terrible. It was awful. Okay, speaking of, I'm so glad you're here to hear this, Biggie. I'm so glad you're in there.
Where else would I be?
Today. Jelly Roll says he's getting ready to run a 5K.
Yeah,
again
he's doing another 5K.
in May. He's lost 120 pounds, and he has advice for those trying to exercise who can't get into the routine. He had done a hike, so he's at the top of this really nice mountain, and he shows the view, and he says, look, some days you don't feel it.
And I hope y'all are getting out and moving today. It's worth the sacrifice, y'all. It's worth the pain. I realize today that some days when I get out here in this process of trying to make this massive life change, that some days I come out here and I feel great. I mean, from the moment we start, I feel good. But today kind of reminded me that sometimes you have those days, man, where you just don't feel it at all. And even as you get walking, you don't feel it. But, man, those are the most gratifying to go do that work, y'all. Can't live in a false sense of this thing not sucking. Right? Like you're making this big of a life change, it's gonna hurt. Stick with this, and I'm gonna see you May 4th. And we are gonna do this thing together, y'all. Love y'all, man.
That's when he's doing his 5K.
He's an inspirational man.
Look, some days you don't feel it, but you have to go anyway. You have to go and do it even when you don't feel it. The heaviest weight in the gym is the front door.
I think now just do a quick replay of what had just happened. I think you did this whole thing just so you could say that line.
Just to make that declaration.
The heaviest weight in the gym is the front door. You have to open it to get in there. That's our saying down at the gym, and good for Jelly Roll.
Right.
So he's out there hiking and doing that. Here are the concerts that were canceled for vastly different reasons. One of them actually has to do with, I guess, just sort of loosely on what kind of shape we are in. It took place in Australia, and it was a Bryan Adams concert. Bryan Adams was ready to take
The Bryan Adams?
The Bryan Adams. He was ready to take the stage in Perth, and shortly before the concert, they came to him and said, we have to cancel tonight's concert. They had no sewage because the city sewer system was blocked by a massive fatberg. It's the second time I've ever heard that term. A fatberg is an accumulation of non-biodegradable solids, wet wipes, fat, oils, and grease, creating blocks in the sewer system. So the stadium where he was going to perform had no water, no sewage.
Yeah, you can't have a show.
Yeah.
Can't have a show because, and they said, fatberg.
Yeah.
They had to dig it out, and it took them a couple of days to get rid of it. So he had to cancel and come back. No word on when it'll be rescheduled.
I don't know how I ended up on this algorithm, but somehow I ended up on like a plumber's, where I was watching reels of plumbers, mostly just going and sucking out wet wipes and things that shouldn't be flushed out of people's septic tanks, sewer systems, and all of them would always put the hose thing down there. You got to churn it too. You got to make like a soup almost.
Yes.
And they start sucking up, but they're like, that's all the sound of money.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They love sucking that stuff out.
Oh
of
yeah,
there.
the one guy was going over and he's like, this is great. He's like, this is how I make all my money.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you will see a plumbing truck on a block once in your neighborhood a day.
The term fatberg, I heard that first when we started flushing all those wet wipes down the toilet. You know, and people would say there's no, because the fat or the grease and stuff down there gets gloms onto them, and then it becomes this thing that's impassable. There's nothing you can do but go get it.
It's crazy to watch how they do it too. Like they really do have to like almost take like a hook,
Mm-hmm.
and you just start seeing this wipes, and it good because nobody actually listens where it says "do not flush."
Yeah.
It's
Right.
called a flushable wipe.
Yeah.
You think okay, but you're really when you read the package, it's like don't flush.
They shouldn't be allowed to call them flushable wipes. They're not flushable. They there's not one on the
No.
market that is. I don't
No.
believe. You know, you
And they
can't flush
show that's what these videos is just.
them.
You know, these plumbers just pulling wet wipes, and they put this giant hose down there.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty fascinating, frankly, to watch. It's gross, but
Mm-hmm.
watching them just clean the whole thing out, and they're like cha-ching.
Yeah, and look, poor,
Yeah. They'll be employed forever.
and these poor Bryan Adams fans, they don't get Summer
Yeah.
'69. They don't get Heaven. They don't get any of that. You know, they don't get the song from the Robin Hood movie. They because simply of a Fatberg, and I think Australia. They're not quite as fat as us, but they're getting close. They eat a lot of bad stuff too, and flush that stuff down the toilet at the same time, I guess. The other concert that was stopped, it was just a party, and Kid Rock was there. So Kid Rock is performing. We mentioned this a little while ago. He's performing on stage at John Bon Jovi's bar in Nashville. John Bon Jovi's keyboard player, David Bryan, was on stage as well. David Bryan was celebrating his birthday. So Kid Rock comes out to do Proud Mary with several other people. And when he started, I thought it was going very well, but he didn't like the way the crowd was reacting. So he said, either you clap or I'm leaving.
Big wheels keep on turning, and the proud men keep on burning.
Hey, stop. If you ain't gonna clap, we gonna sing. That's how it's gonna work.
Well, he just said it. If you ain't going to clap, then we ain't going to sing. So they started clapping in rhythm, and he said, don't go too fast.
Don't get too fast. I was rolling,
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 rolling down the river.
rolling on the river.
Yeah, I seen a lot of pain down in Memphis. Talked a lot of pain down in New Orleans. But I never saw your side of the city till I hit some rock on the Liverpool Bay.
Big wheels keep on turning,
And
proud men keep on burning.
I was rolling. You know what? You ain't gonna clap? I'm going.
That's what he left. They say he's like, yeah, go clap. That's it. I'm just will not do that.
Not
Okay.
clapping.
What? I mean, I understand. I thought it sounded really good.
It's a bit of a tantrum.
Yes. Why would he throw a tantrum like that? I mean, everybody was supposed to clap along, keep him on rhythm. They did not. And so he left and charged out. The party went on, and everybody kept
Yeah,
on playing.
he wasn't the
without him.
guest of honor.
No. So they went on for another couple of hours, and people thought he was going to come back like it was just kind of a stunt, and he never did. So
See ya.
They didn't get to see him, and he was done.
I've always been annoyed by concert clappers. If you listen to old tapes of concerts, which, with all my gray hair, that's what I do. I like to listen to older concerts, from the 70s, even into the 80s. And you will hear people, because especially in the 60s, people would clap along with the songs.
Yeah.
The rhythms were different, but then the rhythm started to change, and when it was more of a rock show, you don't really get that thing. The same rhythms, but people will still try to clap along with the song, and they start sort of on the beat, and then it just falls apart.
Yeah,
and
it
they're
never
clapping
does.
along to songs they shouldn't be clapping along to.
Yeah, I agree.
And I find it so annoying.
Well, I agree. And was it Adam Sandler has said it? When people started clapping during the Thanksgiving song, he said that clapping's messing with my head. Stop clapping. Remember that? That's at the beginning of the Thanksgiving song.
Yes.
I'm not going to play it. I'm not going to play it here out of season.
No,
but At
no.
the beginning, people start clapping. He goes, stop that clapping's messing with my head. He didn't like it.
I also think once again proving that we woo anything at a concert.
I know.
As soon as he's like, stop, aren't you clap? Woo!
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
You can say anything and everybody
get a
will
woo.
cheer.
Yeah.
And then he leaves the stage. All right, that's it.
Yeah.
And curses at him. Yeah. What?
Hey.
Why are you cheering for him?
Listen, in just a couple of days, we'll be emceeing some comedy shows.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe we should try to get people to clap, and if they don't clap, we'll just storm off the
just
stage.
leave and storm off the stage.
That's what they want.
Yeah, really. Why would they? Why would they?
I'm here for the comedians, not these jabronis.
You know, we were in Myrtle Beach for a Two Guys Named Chris Comedy All-Star show. And there was a guy there who was not scheduled to be on the stage at any point. We had the 3 comedians lined up, of course. And he came up to Chris Demm and said, hey, man, I do a little stand-up comedy. Do you mind if I get on stage tonight? And, of course, Chris Demm, I wasn't around. Chris Demm said, no, man, we got the show scheduled tonight. You know, good luck to you, but no. Now, had he asked me, he'd have done a quick 15.
I would say you'd let him done
go
5
ahead.
minutes.
Go ahead and get up there.
You got a
man.
tight 5.
And he picked the wrong Chris. I told him.
That's
Later,
true.
I was like,
Thankfully,
man,
you were in the green room.
I mean, I hide in the green room where nobody can find me. Had he come up to me and said, can I get on stage? I'd have said, well, sure, I guess. Why don't you start? Why don't you do a tight 10, but if everybody's liking it, go 15. You know,
feel it out.
Yeah.
And the other,
Really explore the space.
the other comedians would have hated that. You're not supposed to do that.
No, especially an unproved. You don't know anything about this person.
Nothing.
All he said was,
And he could have lied. He could have
May
gotten
not
up
have
there
been.
for 5 minutes and just been like,
Rape.
I know.
can we cut his mic or something? No.
I got some things I want to say about Drake.
Now, here, and then I would not have heard that, so I would have gone on stage and give it up for him, everybody. It's all, you know, because I would have absolutely led him. I said, thank God he went to Chris Demm and not to me.
Yeah.
The last time that happened, a guy came to me at Halloween and said, you know, I do some stand-up comedy. And I said,
Tremendous.
why don't you join us on stage and be the opening act when we do our Comedy All-Star Tour in February? And he's like, all right. Then in February, a week before the tour starts, he emails everybody in the company and says, what time should I show up? And I say, who's this jabron?
That's this guy emailing me. Who told him yes? You did. The great part was, all of us in unison, you did.
He didn't even ask to do it. I asked him. I was like, come on and do it. And of course, completely forgot about that. And then I was told, well, you set that up. What? What idiot set this up? You did. That's how it works always. By the way, this is about plumbing and toilets. I just read that you should not sit on your toilet longer than 8 to 10 minutes ever. Chris Demm always said it caused piles. Piles are hemorrhoids, and you are not to sit on your toilet more than 8 to 10 minutes. Some people take a long time in there, and you, especially now, I think they scroll their phone on there as well. So you are not to do that more than 8 to 10 minutes. I used to, in the morning, take a little toilet nap before I would come into work. I'd be so tired, I'd sit on my toilet with my knees and my thighs and sometimes fall asleep there. It's embarrassing. And I was getting issues back then.
Is that how you will be found dead?
No, probably
hope
because you
not.
don't do it now.
I hope not. That would be terrible. You know,
Yeah.
Elvis was a punchline because he was found on the toilet.
Yeah.
And he was a great career, and look how he was found. You
Because of issues I've had through the years, I'm an in and out now. I don't.
know? Get in and out. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't
take too long.
scroll. I don't any of that. And I used to be. I used to be a toilet reader. I mean, they had actual. It was called like what were they? The trivia books.
Yes.
Were
The
meant to
bathroom readers?
Yes.
Yes.
I loved those
Or
things.
the Uncle John's companion or
exactly,
something.
yeah.
Yes.
I
You're not
love.
supposed to
I'd
do
sit
it.
there and read through those, and that no, it's terrible.
Shouldn't do that.
I mean, I can't tell you how many bathrooms that I went into as a kid, as a young adult, what have you. They had a magazine rack
oh, I know.
next to the
yeah.
toilet.
Because, you know.
That's where they were.
Of course. I mean, that was the old job.
That was your private time.
My dad just go in there and read the paper. You know, he'd sit on the toilet for 30 minutes and read the paper.
We have a guy here. I don't think he does it anymore, but he'd always leave the paper in there, just hanging on this.
Oh,
Put
yeah,
the
that's
newspaper
right.
under his arm. God, that's right.
Got to go clock in.
When I was heavier, this is embarrassing too. When I used to sit on one particular toilet here in this building, I'd sit and it would start to run like it would start to hear the water start to go.
Like it's got to warm up.
Yeah, like it was making.
Oh, he's gonna leave a big one. I gotta go up and moving.
Warm it up, Chris.
And I thought this is like trying to tell me something. You know, I'd sit down on the toilet and you start to hear like a water flow. Yeah, like oh man, he's too heavy for this toilet.